Welcome to this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, and with me, of course, is Miss Kennetra Pulliams. How are you doing, lady?
I'm doing well, thank you.
KP and I are going to recap our predictions on the Final Four, men and women. I'm still recovering from lack of sleep, coming back from Tampa via San Antonio. I am still saddened at my alma mater losing. They were that close to winning their first championship in school history, but it's nowhere near the devastation I felt 42 years ago, April 4th, 1983, when I dropped to my knees and cried for like 2 hours after I lost to NC State. So that pales to comparison. But KP, I must say, we waited outside the locker room, the Coogs locker room, Monday night after the loss for like 40 minutes. Typically, what is the cool down period? It's like 10 to 15 minutes. It was about 40 minutes. There were national colleagues who were not happy.
Yeah.
Not sure what was going on. Every so often, I think a national like Indy Cats or
Jeff Goodman or
no. Who's Tracy Wilson? What's woman's name? Who's the CBS reporter? Help me out.
Tracy.
She went in, I think, 20 minutes afterwards to speak to Coach Sampson. So it was rough. And when we finally got into the locker room, young men were still crying. Their eyes were red. Staffers were red. The managers were crying. Everybody was hurt. It was rough. It was rough being in there. So their reaction was how I felt 42 years ago. And I understand it. They were that close, and they feel like they deserved it. But your thoughts on that matchup, the result, Houston, Florida, and then we'll talk about the women's Final Four as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Cougars fans, Cougar Nation, Cougar Den, Cougar Pride, the team. I mean, everyone with the way that Houston was rolling in that game, absolutely they believed that not that they had the championship, but they were in position to win it. I don't believe that Florida beat them. I think Houston beat themselves just with the lack of execution over the final 2 minutes of the game. But at the same time, they know firsthand 2 days prior how quickly the outcome of a game can change. They experienced it. They just were on the receiving end of the ball bouncing their way. And it just so happened Monday night that turnovers and lack of, not being able to, they had plenty of time. They just could not run a play and execute it as designed.
And it was one of my biggest concern is either way, for whichever team led by double digits, could they hold it? Because Houston had the ability to come back. Florida throughout the tournament, so they had the ability to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the last 2 minutes was, as Coach Sampson said, it was inexplicable. The turnovers were uncharacteristic. LJ Cryer stepping on the sideline. Emmanuel losing the ball on the previous possession, and then not doing what Emmanuel Sharp is known for doing, taking fearless shots. That's what he does. And he hesitated on the shot. I guess he thought it was going to get blocked. So instead of shooting the ball and just letting it go, giving his teammate somebody a chance to crash the boards, he didn't do that. So it was just uncharacteristic things that they didn't do all season, but happened in those last minutes.
And even like looking at the bigger picture of that last play, there was a lot of standing around. Even after LJ handed the ball off to Emmanuel, LJ just stood there.
Yep. It's in both Jawan Roberts and LJ said it in the locker room that, heck, LJ was even more straightforward. They both described it as a play initially for LJ and then being elevated screen for Emmanuel. And LJ said that he didn't believe that they ran the elevator screen at all. So they didn't even run the play right.
Yeah.
So it's just a breakdown.
Yeah.
The final moments, the pressure got to them, and it's understandable. Okay, these they're people. They're human. They're not robots. They make
But
mistakes.
LJ had been in this situation before.
But that goes to show you it can happen to anybody, no matter how many times you've been in it. It still happens. It happened at the worst possible time for the team, for the players. It's LJ's last game as a Cougar.
Yeah.
He said he won't let that play define his college career,
Mhm.
his time at Houston, as he shouldn't. The young men should all be proud of themselves, what they accomplished this season.
Sure.
Many of the youngsters who were crying, wailing, still, even when we got into the locker room, how they vowed to be back next year. And in the moment, that is the natural reaction.
Absolutely.
We're going to be back.
Real.
We're going to be back. We're going to be back. We're going to get it done next year. But because of how the tournament goes, you don't know. This could have been their one shot at getting back to Monday night. I hope I'm wrong.
Right.
But they could be a great team. I think they'll be very good next year with the talent coming back, the talent coming in. But, a bad bounce here, an injury there, or, a missed call otherwhere, you just don't know. It's a one and done. That's the beauty and curse. I've said on this show and our Less Rage Coog shows, the beauty of March Madness is also March Sadness.
Mm-hmm.
So you just never know how it all will play out, but they'll be okay. And we had a few haters, is probably being too kind, responses during the post-game show from people, being highly critical, overly critical of the players and Emmanuel and Milos Uzan. These guys did not do this stuff on purpose. This is not intentional. None of those things. All of them.
It was a breakdown.
It was a breakdown, but they were part of 39 games previous. 35 of those were wins. The last few minutes just didn't happen. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is they had up until those last 9 seconds, Houston had the longest win streak in college basketball.
And I would not have believed the game would have ended that way, not getting a shot off, because that's just did not happen for them this year.
Miss shot,
right.
Let's look at both ways. So if you were Kelvin Sampson, if you were the head coach, would you have gone for the win? Would you have gone for the tie?
I personally, I would have gone for the win.
Okay.
Because they were teetering, So I would have gone for the win. I probably would have gone really, even though he struggled to make shots most of the game. I'd have gone to Juwan Roberts on the block.
Mm-hmm.
To go for the tie.
Sure.
If I'm Coach Sampson. Now, if I'm me, if I were the coach, I'd have gone for 3-point shot for Emmanuel or LJ. Just go for the win. We're not going overtime. Let's get out of here with a dub. We had a big lead. We didn't. Well, I want to get your thought on this. Houston led by 12, 42-30, with 15 minutes left in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with that much time left, I don't consider that blowing it. I don't consider that choking.
No.
Okay. Especially in college basketball. Now, if you're up 9 points with a minute to go or less, and I don't think that's choking either. I can understand blowing it. We're talking semantics here. You got a big lead with less than a minute to go. You should win. But 15 minutes left in the game. The other team's going to make a run. They have plenty of time to erase that deficit. That's what
because 15 minutes remaining, you're closer to halftime than you are at the end of the game.
Yes. And, Florida, as a fan that I bumped into in the airport before we returned to Houston, he said, this is what we've done all year. We come from behind. We've been down before. We come from behind. We find a way to win.
The entire tournament, Florida lived on the edge.
They did. So they did it, and they got it done. And salute to them. They got their third championship. And they celebrated. And as a Houston alum, or as a fan for a moment, losing stinks.
Absolutely.
Losing sucks, especially when you have to watch the opposing team celebrate in your face. You know? I mean, the fans, Florida fans, as they should. Their team won. Their team got it done. The team scored more than Houston. But to see them celebrate and jump up and down and the confetti fall and I'm just like, God, this sucks. I mean, this really
And the
sucks.
thing is, like, you know, that is the lasting feeling, image until practice starts again in the fall. I mean, yes, there's off-season conditioning, but like you're sitting on this until October, November.
And I haven't watched ESPN. I haven't watched any sports highlights. I don't want people bringing it up or what happened, what didn't go right, or did you see? I don't want to see any of that stuff. I mean, to this day, KP, any hint, a tenth of a second that I see NC State, that I see Jim Valvano about to run around on the court, I look away or change the channel.
Okay.
I refuse to go back and relive all that because I do it enough in my head. I don't need to see it again. So, but that's just me. But
yeah, I mean, but that's, you know, and I get you don't want to relive it, but to experience both of those, which one hurts more?
Oh, the first one. Yeah,
Okay.
the first one hurts more. Oh, no doubt. The first one hurts more. Yeah, and because I was a kid, you know,
Yeah.
I was Phi Slamma Jamma through and through.
Yeah.
The shirts, like heck, the shirts are right here. That shirt back there, that white one, that's from when I was 11 years old. Okay, the red one was when I was 11 years old, and they were first ranked number 1. My dad bought me those shirts. So, oh my gosh, no question.
Okay.
Monday was stunning, and it hurt the way they lost. Like I said, not getting a shot off, but I'm at the point now. I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying covering the team, seeing their success, seeing them progress. You know, June, summer workouts, September, October, then throughout the season, getting better. I'm not happy they lost. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm enjoying what has been accomplished in these 11 years under Coach Sampson and the staff. So that's a big reward. The ultimate, getting that 6th win did not happen because I told Andy Yanez and Dayon Dunlap, you know, Fluff McKeever, my brothers on our Let's Rage Coogs shows, and all the fans who watch the show know I was ready. And I had hoped to be a meme when I take off my credential, run around doing my Jim Valvano, looking for somebody to hug, running onto the court, making confetti angels, whatever.
I mean, what is it? Was that the State Farm commercial?
I was going to do it. I was ready for David Warlock from NCAA to say, what is Kris doing? Has he lost his mind? He's media. And I was ready. I was hoping for it. I was going to give AD my credential. Here, I'm about to go be a fan. That's what I was ready for. Alas, it didn't happen. But you are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, streaming on YouTube at the Houston Roundball Review channel, and of course on Roku via the BS3 Network. I wanted to get right into a discussion about the Coogs loss, so I forgot to say this, but you're watching the show on Facebook, YouTube, and Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV. Download the app so you can watch these shows on BS3. Download it on Roku so you can watch the shows there, or you can watch them on demand. But if you don't have it, go to BS3Network.com or BS3TVLive.com. The men's Final Four games were competitive, much to my overall satisfaction. The women's Final Four games, alas, were not. So your thoughts on those?
Yeah, it just, as compelling as, you know, as the men, you know, you get all 4 number 1 seeds. Women's side, you get 3 1s and a 2. But just, I didn't watch a complete game of the Final Four on the women's side, just because they weren't competitive.
Yeah, they weren't. And UConn was the better team. They were the best team. I didn't want to accept it, but I acknowledged it
Mm-hmm.
when UConn went into Carolina and beat them like a drum on the road in February. That was their "we are back." Here we are. We're playing our best basketball, and when they smacked the Gamecocks around, then I should have acknowledged, yeah, they're really good. They're playing great basketball, and it's because of AZ Fudd hitting her groove, hitting her stride, and Sarah
Mm-hmm.
Strong the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Paige Becker's got help. She finally got help from her teammates, and that's what helped them win their 12th championship in program history. Dawn Staley, as she does, she's matter of fact, straightforward. She didn't run from it. UConn was better than us. There's a better team. We'll be back. What are your thoughts on, because there is parity in women's college basketball.
Mhm.
It's not like the men though. So if there's another year next year, if UConn and Carolina match up again in the final game, is that a good thing for women's basketball to continue growing?
I mean, I think as long as the games are competitive,
But they
because
weren't this year.
no. But I'm just saying, if the game next year, if it's a rematch and the games are competitive, then yeah, I mean, because then if it's the same two teams, there's your built-in storyline already.
I hope so. Your thoughts on Tanaya Latson from Florida State,
Leading
announcing
scorer, yeah,
leading scorer, transferring to South Carolina. That's Dawn said it, and she hinted at it as veteran coaches do. We're going to hit the portal. She said that after the loss Sunday. We're going to hit the portal. Obviously, she didn't name names, but clearly, the coaches already have done the hard work, laid the
sure.
groundwork, because Coach Sampson said it Monday, talking to the media, the Houston media, because he did national first in Houston media. We're going to look at our roster, evaluate, and hit the portal.
Hmm.
Tuesday evening, Pop Isaacs announced he's transferring from Creighton to Houston, a combo guard for the Coogs, played at Texas Tech. First 2 years,
Knows the Big 12, yeah.
knows Big 12, was all conference. No surprise there. I kind of knew that in the locker room Monday. I was kind of gave some info, but I did not mention it during the Let's Rage Cougs shows. But it wasn't not a surprise to me.
Hmm.
The Cougs have some other things lining up for roster next year as well.
Hmm.
But I mean, this is what is part of the reality of college / semi-pro sports. You have the
Sure.
portal. You have to prepare yourself. You have to plan accordingly, look ahead. I don't know what. Well, no, I don't know if Pop Isaac's transfer to Houston means Milos Uzan is definitely gone. He's
Mm.
going to go through the NBA draft process. I think based on how he struggled in the Final Four, he did not play well at all in the Final Four.
Yeah.
He just wasn't confident. He looked like Milos Uzan from November, the
Hmm.
one just struggling, no confidence, not being physical, struggled with a shot, all those things. He passed up too many things, too many opportunities, drives, everything. So based on that, I think the NBA evaluation will be go back to school. You need to go back
Yeah.
to Houston. That does not mean he's going to do that.
No.
Okay. But if he does do that, then there will be Milos, Pop Isaacs, freshman, Kingston Flemings will be the 3-guard rotation. Mercy Miller will have his second year in the program. So that'll be a very strong 4-guard rotation. Maybe the best competitors, Coach Sampson's going to say you earn it in practice, and we'll go from there. If Milos decides to go stay in the NBA or go somewhere else, then it'll free up some minutes for Mercy, Kingston, and Pop Isaacs. It'd be a short backcourt, an inexperienced backcourt to the Cougar culture. And that is my probably biggest concern for next
Mhm.
year's team. Whole lot of talent. Way more NBA potential talent for the 25-26 roster.
More pros.
more NBA pros, but not a lot of Houston Cougar veterans as part of who experienced the Cougar culture for 3 years, like Emmanuel Sharp, JoJo Tugler. I'm sure they'll be back with Houston. Other names, I'm not as sure they'll be back because they may see because of the freshman coming in, the redshirt freshman Chase McCarty, who was a top 80 player last year, redshirted this year. He's going to play 25-26. So that's 4. Pop Isaacs and the big man they got, that's 6. So you got 6 newcomers going to play next year. Plus Emmanuel Sharp. Plus Tugler, that's 8. So if you're on the back part of the bench like this season, you need to look around and say, where am I going to play? Where am my minutes going to come from here in Houston? So I don't know any inside info yet about who may decide to transfer. They may decide to stick it out. Who knows?
And I mean, and that's within any program. But for for those guys, 9 through 12, 9 through 14, what is the guarantee they're going to play somewhere else?
And that's the thing
because they don't know that system either.
Agreed. And the player, his representation, and his family need to have that discussion because it's reality. Because that program you're looking at, across the fence, that grass may be greener to a point, but
green as in dollar bills.
In dollar bills, if you get in writing, because if you don't, then it's just talk. Then also, do you want to win if you go to that program? Are you just leaving Houston because you want to get paid? That's okay. If that's what you want to do, that's a personal decision. But if you want to win and have a chance to run it back, have a chance to finally get that win number 6, you got a great shot to do it at Houston. You just may not play 10, 15 minutes a game, but you'll still get some money here. It may not be what you would get elsewhere, but you might not win elsewhere. So it's a decision for a lot of them, but a few probably have to decide and look within and make that, okay, well, I love it here. I love the family here. I love the vibe here. We win here. We compete here. So who knows? And I'm not going to hate on anybody for whatever decision they make. If they decide to go elsewhere to get the money, that's fine. If they decide to go elsewhere because they think they're going to get more minutes, that's fine too. Regardless, I'm going to cover the Coogs, whoever is on the team next year, because that's what I do. And then if you go somewhere else, and it happens to be a team in the Big 12, then I'll cover you there. If you happen to go to Rice, then I'll cover you because you're at Rice. Happen to go to TSU, I'll cover you because you're at TSU and you're in town. All those decisions, just look out for number 1. That's what I say to all the players. That's first things first. Look out for yourself. Make the best decision for yourself and your family. Don't let the outsiders say, well, you were all world in high school and Coach Sampson ain't playing you anything. So I want to stay. You should go somewhere else. Do what's best for you. KP, the Houston Cougars women's team made some news Tuesday. Oh, I would say before I get to the Coug news, I had a smile when I saw Olivia Miles on the TNT broadcast, sitting with the legend, one of the legends, Candace Parker, to announce her decision that she it was
to confirm
to confirm, because everyone already knew that she was transferring to TCU, but I guess to make it official, Shaq came out with a little gift box and she unwrapped it and it was a TCU jersey. Just your thoughts about Olivia's brand recognition to do that on national TV.
Yeah, I mean, everything's for show. Everything's for likes and clicks and followers, and everything's a spectacle. I mean, like, let's go back to when these student athletes announce where they're going to college in the first place. You do the hat dance and you do the jacket reveal. You know, everything is a ceremony. So, like, you know, good for Olivia to have her moment in the spotlight, and you know, joining a successful program. And I mean, she said, you know, when she left, or the final game in South Bend, you know, she thanked the fans for their support and helping her through her injured season. And you know, she was very appreciative of her time, and you know, and then not knowing what the landscape of the WNBA is going to look like. So, hey, you know, the opportunity is there to stay in school, and you go to a winning program, and there's an opportunity for her to have a immediate impact and a considerable impact. More power to her.
Agreed. My only negative about it, we kind of touched on it at the beginning, is her people did a poor job of keeping this a secret. Everybody knew about this. I mean, so it was reported on, written on, that she was going to TCU.
Yeah. And so for her to be like, and you know, I was coming here to announce it, but it leaked. I'm like, look at your circle, because like,
yeah, come on, Olivia, tighten up that circle, or you know, get rid of some of those folks in that circle or something, because it was, I obviously already knew about it, but I didn't know she did the appearance on TNT. I saw it after the fact.
Yeah,
I saw it on social media, and I was like, okay, that's nice, but we already knew about it. So, all right.
Yeah.
But she's going to TCU. That's good news for the Big 12. Gets some more national attention for, I think TCU will be the favorite, should be the favorite women's basketball preseason. I mean, they're not done in the portal. They got some players to replace via the portal, which they will. They got enough money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia's presence there will help draw talent to join her. The TCU probably be on TV a lot in the fall and conference play. That's good for the conference. Hopefully they won't have the struggles that Iowa State had in non-conference that really hurt the overall perception of Big 12 women's basketball. Non-conference, Iowa State is flamed out. I mean, their struggles getting blasted hurt the conference. But hopefully TCU, they are now the queen of the Big 12. They're paying for it. I think the investment so far have been wise and smart. But my alma mater has begun, or is making, some shrewd moves. This one, the title of it, the position for Amy Tilley, named Chief of Staff for UH women's basketball, was made official Tuesday. Coach Mitchell announced it. Quote, part of his quote, Amy's extensive knowledge of the game, exceptional organizational skills, and dedication to excellence align perfectly with our program's core values. You know, this is why I hired her, kind of thing. During her tenure, Kentucky women's basketball enjoyed one of the most successful stretches in program history, highlighted by an SEC regular season championship, multiple NCAA tournament appearances, and an SEC tournament championship in 2022. Her responsibilities at Kentucky included overseeing team travel and scheduling, managing the program's budget, coordinating facility use, supervising all non-coaching staff and student managers, directing the team's Nike account, and leading special event operations. She played a critical role in the day-to-day operations and long-term planning for the program. Before her promotion to assistant AD in May 2014, she served as director of basketball relations and recruiting operations for 3 years. So, chief of staff, part of her duties is kind of like she's director of basketball operations.
That was my question. What's the difference between the titles?
And I don't think there is. You know, I think she's the director of ops, women's basketball ops. The title might pay her more or might not. It just might be the title. Same salary, but it has a better title. That could be what it is. Yeah. And I did not know her. I mean, I didn't know the family. Don't know the family. I saw her at the press conference. I thought it was Mrs. Mitchell.
Mm.
It turns out it was her. And so it's good to see her. I hope to work with her and Coach Mitchell. Maybe she'll be help arrange the promotions with the team, and having Coach Mitchell part of the interviews and podcasts for the Houston Roundball Review going forward. But it's a positive in terms of organization for women's basketball. I think Coach Mitchell is putting his stamp and imprint on the program, and in a way, following a pattern that what Coach Sampson built for the men's program. These are my duties. I want you in charge of this. I trust you. I worked with you years ago. I know what you can do. And to that end, did not make a slide of it, but as we recorded this on Wednesday, probably Thursday and Friday, additional addition to his staff will be announced. One, Anthony Anderson, formerly on the SMU staff, has ties to the state of Texas, previous coaching experience. Denisha Stallworth, formerly an assistant coach at Boston College this past season, will join the staff. And Denisha played for Coach Mitchell at Kentucky a few years ago and was one of his probably first recruits to have an impact to help Kentucky win and get to the tournament. So that experience will be a boon to the staff. And then lastly, was told this Wednesday afternoon, Demetria Buchanan is joining the staff, and I think that'll be announced Friday. She's going to be associate head coach. She had that same role at Auburn. She was part of Auburn staff the last 3 years. And, of course, Auburn decided to move on from Coach Johnny Harris and her staff. So Demetria will be coming home. She's from Houston. She is a graduate from Jesse H. Jones High School, as we like to say, part of the HSD platform family. She went to Texas A&M. She won at Texas A&M, played for Coach Blair. So I've known Tree since she was at Jones. She went to Jones. So I'm old. I'm feeling old because now players that I saw when they were in high school are now well into their coaching careers. But I'm looking forward to seeing her. Reached out to her, congratulated her. So it's good I'm happy for her because her family, most of her family is still in Houston, and she is close to her family. And it's really special for her to get a chance to probably help restore Houston basketball. Well, I'm not going to say restore KP because it's been so long since women's hoops won anything in Houston. Help them win again. So that's all good. Going back to the Final Four, women's Final Four. The clip that I'm going to play for you and for the audience is comments from Dawn Staley. She was asked her thoughts or what she would like the new president of the WBCA, the Women's Basketball Coaches Association, Jose Fernandez, to accomplish in his tenure as president of the WBCA. Tops on Coach Staley's list is this. Check this out.
I'm not going to tell him how to do his job, but there are certain things that we need. I don't know if he can get that. Open up the negotiations for a new television deal would be nice. We need our own television deal so we can understand what our worth is. I think he also needs to fight for more revenue shared dollars when it comes to women's basketball, because we can't forget when this case was brought up, it was football, it was men's basketball, and it was women's basketball. So any percentage that's less than what we deserve needs to be addressed if we're not getting it across the board.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, take it from someone, she has been a champion on every level in the sport of women's basketball. So her opinion, her experiences are valuable. At least have a conversation and listen, to what she is asking for. And, she's probably speaking for her peers. Yeah. I mean, like, you want to go where you're celebrated and not just tolerated. And I mean, and again, we go back to what we talked about in previous episodes about the design of the two regional systems. I mean, and granted, yes, under the current contract, it's not going to change in the next 3 years, just because. What did Mark Emmer say? It's like we'd have to reopen the bidding process, and teams have, they put in bids with the assumption that you're going to get 8 teams. So change it. Make the accommodations fair. But whatever. And
for folks watching, I don't have the video up, but Gino Auriemma made similar comments to what Coach Staley said, what you heard, about hoping Coach Jose is able to open up negotiations, get more money, increase the revenue sharing. So you have two of the most recognized head coaches in women's basketball wanting the same thing.
Why was the women's game on Sunday afternoon and not in prime time?
That's part of ESPN negotiations, with the NTA. A part of hopefully next year that'll change to put it on in prime time on Sunday. There was not as much discussion about going back to the Sunday, Tuesday format. Semifinals on Sunday, title game on Tuesday. So things are being discussed. We'll see.
Let me like why is it like the women play on Monday and then have to turn around and play a semifinal on Friday?
I think a lot of things are now on the table for discussion. I'm not in favor of. I don't like the idea of having both Final Fours in the same city. I don't like that in terms of the coverage, outlets, the attention. It'll hurt the women's game. I don't see it being.
Especially if you look at next year in Indianapolis, you have the men's Division 1, 2, 3, and NIT all in Indianapolis. So Indianapolis becomes like the basketball mecca,
right,
for a solid week. And you don't want to oversaturate that by throwing the women in there in a similar scenario, because then it's just like they surely won't get the coverage they desire and deserve.
Agreed. A few minutes past the bottom of the hour. Got to do it. Play the promos. Let everyone know what BS3 TV, BS3 Network is all about. I'm going to play that, and we will be back on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the lunch break, powered by JM&E. KP and I'll be back in about 35 seconds. Come back.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the lunch break, powered by JM&E. I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, and with me is KP, Miss Kennetra Pulliams, Queen of the Takeover. KP, again, thank you for your time and insight on the show. First part of the show, we recapped the Final Fours, discussed the Houston Cougars men's team, women's team making some staff additions, as well as Dawn Staley's comments about increased or new negotiations for media rights deal for women's basketball solo. Now, the last part of the show, we're going to talk Players Era Festival.
Wait, quick question. Like, how different will Kelvin's staff look next year?
Quantus White is the new head coach at Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to take anyone on the current staff with him. It wouldn't shock me if a player goes with him, though.
Mm.
I don't know that, though. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
But based on Coach Sampson's history of staff, he's going to promote maybe someone from within.
Mm.
But whoever it is, it's going to be someone he has worked with before.
Sure.
It's not going to be someone from Duke's program or someone from Louisville's program. Coach Sampson has said, and he gets calls from, people who are from Houston, went to high school in Houston or whatever, but chose to go to Baylor, Duke, Kentucky, or, other programs. And coach says, matter of fact, didn't ask those coaches to hire you. Don't ask me to hire you. He said, I'm going to hire from within, promote who people I work with and have established relationships with. That's what he's going to do. So should that be a major turnaround, a major shakeup in the staff?
Okay.
But roles will change. And so it might impact the play of the guards, how they work out and work on the skill development, things like that. But the train will keep on the track and keep rolling forward, and with a goal next year to be just one game better, one more win next year. Final moments, going to recap and kind of bring forward a lot of players era festival stuff. I think we touched on part of this months ago, but we haven't touched on the most recent news because we've had so much other stuff to discuss on these takeover shows. So now I'm going to dedicate some time to talk about Players Era Festival. This is initially from February. So the Players Era Tournament growing. This is from Pete Nakos on 3. This past fall, Players Era Tournament doled out $9 million total in NIL dollars to the 8 teams participating in the tourneys inaugural year. That's men's basketball. Now the tournament is growing with no cap on the number of teams that could be involved in 2025. Working with its NIL partner, you see it there, I'm not going to say it, to distribute funds, Players Era has plans to dish out more money. The tournament expects to spend north of $24 million in NIL payments in 2025 between its men's and women's basketball tournaments. I wonder if that will still uphold based on the economy. But anyhow, Tennessee, Kansas, Auburn, Gonzaga, Iowa State, Michigan, St. Joe's, St. John's, Syracuse, and Baylor will all be new to the men's tournament next season. Alabama, Creighton, Houston, Notre Dame, Oregon, Rutgers, San Diego State, and Texas A&M are also expected to return to the men's tourney. All those teams signed 3-year contracts, so they'll be back. The tournament previously announced it will launch the Players Era Women's Championship in 2025 too. The event features 4 national powerhouses: South Carolina, UCLA, Duke, and Texas. Each program will engage in at least $1 million of NIL activities for Player Era and its sponsors outside of competition, meaning each program will receive $1 million in NIL for participating. The round-robin NIL-driven tournament is growing into a hub of college basketball. Both tournaments will be held in Las Vegas. Now, Thursday, this is like I said a couple months ago, February 6th, Players Era announced the University of Tennessee men's team is the latest powerhouse to join the field of 2025 Players Era Men's Championship in Las Vegas. Tennessee joins Kansas and Auburn as the latest entrants in the 2025 field, joining the 8 teams previously mentioned. So it's a loaded event, KP, to create a first-of-its-kind men's college basketball showcase. The 2025 Players Era Men's Championship will debut an entirely new format that combines international-style group play with championship matchups. The groundbreaking Players Era Festival launched, blah, 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 blah. You got all that. Women's teams right there, Duke, Carolina, Texas, UCLA. 8 teams right here, men's. It's going to be 18 total. When we talked about this back in February, I think there was some discussion that it might grow to 20. It seems like 18 is going to be the cap number, 18 teams. So here are 8 of them: Bama, Auburn, Baylor, Creighton, Gonzaga, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, Rutgers, San Diego State, St. Joe's, St. John's, Syracuse, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. Now, this is the latest news from CBS Sports' Matt Norlander. The Players Era Festival intends on expanding to 32 teams in 2026 to create, quote, November Madness, end quote, tournament event. The Players Era Festival, the event that pays millions to college basketball players and debuted with 8 teams this season, is expanding again and in historic fashion. As previously reported, Players Era is inflating to 18 teams for next season, but it's 2026 that stands to make history. Event organizers are planning to stage a whopping 32-team tournament in November 2026, sources told CBS Sports, which would make the Players Era Festival by far the biggest non-NCAA tournament event in college basketball history. Just gonna stop right there. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Okay. Good. I mean, it's going to, I think, take the place of all the other multi-event tournaments. It'll be consolidated, into one location. And it'll be with that many teams, with 32 teams, you just wonder how coaches and programs feel about the intra-conference action so early in the season. Like, do you want to, do 2 teams from the SEC want to play each other? Does Auburn want to play Tennessee in November when, as grueling as the SEC was this year, you could see them, 5 times a season?
And similar, does Houston want to face Iowa State or Kansas or Baylor, or whoever?
And then on the women's side, like with just 4 teams, like you playing 2 games? Or you playing 3? Like, how many is 3 game guaranteed? Like,
yeah, that hasn't been determined, hasn't been announced.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina want to play Texas in November.
Yeah, I mean, because that's an SEC matchup.
Yeah,
and the 32-team format. How many games for each team? I mean, it could almost, in one sense, take the place of their entire non-conference schedule.
Yeah, I mean, are you doing 4 pods, 4 groups of 8 for 32?
Yeah.
Or 8 groups of 4.
Yeah. Are you playing 7 games as part of this Players Era Festival? It's going to take up most of November.
Yeah.
And then you play those 7, and then maybe the remaining 3 or 4 in December, non-conference, have check games for the HBCUs or the lower tier programs. A lot to be determined. The TV platform, streaming, that part of it is going to have to be discussed. Scheduling for the conferences next season, after next season. Okay, so here's your conference schedule. Mm-hmm. Houston, we have you playing Kansas twice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, no. We can't do that. Why not? Because we're scheduled to play Kansas in Vegas once. So that means we're playing 3 times before the tournament, the Big 12 tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're going to play Baylor twice. No, because we're scheduled to play Baylor once in Vegas too. Oh, no. Well, okay. Yeah. All right. Auburn, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are playing each other twice in conference. Oh, no, we can't do that because we still have to play them. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this works out, to see how where the money comes from, if we'll ever be told that or learn that, and make sure the teams are paid, because the inaugural event, there was uncertainty and questions about it happening up until almost September or October,
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the NCAA to finally sign off on it and agree to it, even though there were other MTEs, multi-team events that the NCAA approved that had kind of a similar but less payout for NIL in those events than this inaugural players deal. And the NCAA was like, yeah, no, we're not sure about that one. So how can I phrase it? The organizers for the Players Era Festival held firm, possibly tossed out some, okay, well, if you don't agree with this, we're going to go to we're going to fight you a little harder and get more people involved. And the NTA said, okay, well, yeah, we don't want that. So yeah, you're good. Okay. So I'm curious as to see how this is all going to play out. For 32 teams, I would like to see for 2026, for I guess what will be the second year of the women's side of it, that expand to 8 teams instead of just 4.
Because remember, I don't know, 5 months ago, a certain college basketball coach with championship pedigree complained about MTEs and said he would not play it anymore.
And he's a coach in the Big East. Coming off winning 2 championships consecutive.
And said he would be more in favor of doing a home and home.
Right. And they are not part of the Players Era Festival. I wonder how, 32 teams, that's going to be, as you mentioned, going to have an impact on the other non-conference MTEs, like the Maui, like the event in Charleston. All over the country.
One at Disney, the Greenbrier Classic in West Virginia.
Battle for Atlantis.
Yeah.
It probably won't have an impact on the stuff in Oregon.
Vegas used to have a showcase too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's another indicator of the evolution of college basketball, the impact of the money and the revenue in it. And for the women, no media announcements have been made as far as what networks, platforms are going to show these games. I'm talking about this coming season, this fall, November 25. But I'm curious to see, will the 4 teams, women's basketball teams, will they be shown on Warner Brothers division? Will those games be on TNT, TBS like the men? Or will they be on Max and give them less coverage? How is that going to work? 18 teams for this coming season. How's it going to work for scheduling, for the venues? What are ticket prices going to be? When will tickets go on sale, so fans can start preparing and planning for attending those games if they want to, so they can look into tickets and hotels. Will there be hotel packages and all the logistics for all of these things? It's just something to consider. Hopefully it'll be more streamlined and improved upon for year 2 compared to year 1, and then for year 3 with 32 teams.
Right. And then what is it? And then Vegas or Allegiant Stadium is hosting Final Four. Is it 29?
That sounds about right. Yeah. So,
but granted, that's just 4 teams.
Right.
It's not 26.
So 32. The Players Era Festival expanding. I look for a conference or two to announce that they're going to have their basketball media day in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Start planning that. Started, getting the word out, promoting the upcoming Players Era events, tying it all together. I know the Big 12, Mountain West, Big 12 is going to be in Kansas City for their basketball media day.
Mm-hmm.
The football is going to be in Frisco
Yeah.
this July. So it's all part of the ever-changing landscape of student asset involvement for Division I athletics. We're still waiting for Judge Claudia Wilkins to announce that her probably approval of the House settlement and the impact that's going to have on college athletics. She said day one was April 7th. She said on April 7th, she's not going to make a decision on Monday. She did not. So she's asked both sides to continue hammering out discussions, and she'll make a decision hopefully by the end of the month, in time for July 1st of this year. Whole lot going on and to consider. Kennetra and I will discuss it as it happens, or when it happens. We'll keep talking about it here on the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. KP, as always, thank you. Do you want to discuss some NBA playoffs next Wednesday? Because let's see, the regular season ends on the 13th, so another matchups. So we can do that next Wednesday.
Cool.
All right. Okay. So men's Final Four, you predicted who to win it all. I was wrong. I picked Houston, so I was wrong.
I think I said Duke.
Because I don't believe you picked Florida.
I think I said Duke.
Okay, so both of us are wrong. Women's side, you predicted who?
I think I said UConn.
Yeah, I think we kind of hoped for Carolina to win, but I thought UConn would win. So on that side, we were kind of right. Okay, wrap it up here on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E, streaming on YouTube via the Houston Roundball Review, and of course on Roku via BS3 Network. Hit the like button, spread the word about this show, hit that bell on the Roundball Review YouTube channel so you can be notified when new shows are posted. I'm not going to ask you because you haven't told me. So we'll see you again in a week. And as everyone knows, and I'm happy to say it, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.